Hey, if you're currently going through life and you feel like no matter what it is that you do, you cannot seem to get ahead, well, I want you to stay to the end of this video because I'm going to be sharing with you the 3 reasons why you are not able to get ahead and how you can actually eliminate those 3 things to start to have a better life, no matter what area of your life that is. When I was younger, I remember that I wanted to become an engineer. And the reason why I wanted to become an engineer was because I thought that that was going to be the path for me to be able to become wealthy. And what I discovered after I graduated and I went and got a job, I discovered that becoming an engineer was not going to make me wealthy, mainly because I was exchanging my most valuable asset, which is my time, for an unlimited resource or an unlimited asset, which is money. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've never thought about this, anytime you lose time, maybe it's 1 minute, 5 minutes, an hour, 3 hours, that time is gone. You can never give it back or get it back. But if you were to lose money, let's say $1, $10, $100, even $1 million, you can actually go and get that money back. Now, you may be thinking, Matthew, what does that have to do with why I'm not having success in life? And it has a lot to do with why you are not having success in life. And that is the first thing, which is your perspective. What is it that you are currently thinking about your situation? Are you currently thinking about the fact that maybe you're not able to make ends meet? Maybe you don't have enough money in the bank. Maybe you're not as healthy as you would like to be. Maybe you're not in a relationship that you really want to be in that's making you happy. These are things that you are constantly thinking about that's causing you to feel like you are failing. However, it is an opportunity for you to have growth. And the reason why I say it's an opportunity for you to have growth is because of the fact that just as you go and you think about the negative side of things, of how things are not working, you can actually change that in an instance and start thinking about how can you become better in those areas. No matter what ends up happening in your life, no matter if it's financially, no matter if it's your health, no matter if it's in your relationships, it all comes down to your perspective. And for you to actually start to change in your life, you have to change, which leads me to number 2. What are you continuing to choose in your life that you want to be different? You know, being an engineer, yes, you have the potential to make a good amount of money. 80,000, 90,000, 100,000 or more per year. But what many people don't actually think about is the fact that just because you earn a high salary doesn't mean that you're actually free. The way that I like to think about it is the fact that when you start getting to a certain amount of money every year, the company wants you to know that they own you. And what I mean by that is maybe you're getting phone calls after you leave work. Maybe they're asking you to stay late all the time. Maybe they're asking you to not be able to spend more time with your family. And those may not come up directly, but when they ask you to stay later or they ask you to do this or they start stressing you out and different things like that, that is causing you to not really be fully functional for yourself and also for your family. So for number 2, you have to decide if you want things to change. You have yet to make a decision on what is it that you want your life to be like. Do you actually want to be healthy? Do you actually want to have more money? Do you actually want to have more fun with your family and be able to enjoy their company? All that comes down to you making a decision and even going back to number 1, changing your perspective. People are only here for a short limited time, whether it's your kids, whether it's your wife, whether it's you. You're only here for a short period of time. So what you have to do is make a decision to change. And the main focus of changing is thinking about what does that person actually look like? How does that person carry themselves? How does that person talk? How does that person dress? And I thought that in the past I had to go and I had to, force myself to change all these things physically. But what I end up discovering is that when I go and I physically try to change those things, it only lasts for a little bit of time. However, what I really need to focus on, which is what I start focusing on now, is thinking like that person. Because once I start thinking about that person, it becomes a little easier to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go work out. It becomes a little easier to go read a page in a book or even 10 pages in a book. It gets a little easier to go out there and go to work and go out there and maybe go prospect or whatever if you're doing business, or maybe call that business owner, or maybe do that work to develop your skill sets. And that is because you are thinking like the person that actually desires to have those things. So number one, you have to change your perspective. Number two, you have to make a decision to be able to change. Number three, you have to be consistent. Now, one of the biggest things that I struggled with is being consistent. I thought that, hey, look, I started doing this for, a certain period of time. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's a month. And I started thinking like, man, things aren't really changing. They aren't going as fast as I want to. However, things are changing, but the change that's happening is actually internally, and then it's going to be external. When you go to actually plant the seed for a tree, or you plant the seed of a flower or whatever, or a plant, it takes time for it to actually grow. It has to be planted down in the dirt. Then it has to decide that it's not going to become a seed or be a seed anymore, and it starts sprouting roots, and then it grows down towards gravity, and then it starts growing up, and you're able to see it sprout through the dirt. That's the same thing with you. That's the same thing with me. It takes time for us to start developing our roots. And so many people, even I'm seeing it now, so many people got on this train, early before COVID happened. They start earning a lot of money, selling these ebooks, selling these courses, and they didn't really understand the information. And I used to struggle with that because I was like, man, they're sitting here making money. They just started this and they're earning $100,000, or, they're earning $1 million. But what I end up discovering is that it wasn't my time to do that. And why? And it's because I was doing things more of the right way. And when you're doing things the right way, it takes time for those things to actually come into fruition. So the first thing, you have to change your perspective on how you're thinking about things. Once you change your perspective, you have to make a decision. After you make a decision that, hey, look, I'm not going to be like this anymore, I'm going to start thinking and thinking about the person that I want to be. How does that person act? And I'm going to take that on. Now, the last one is you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. No matter what ends up happening, make sure you be consistent, because it is so easy to fall off. And when you fall off, it's basically like you having to go and restart over and over again. So I hope that you were able to get a lot of help or a lot of value from this video. And those are basically the three things that are keeping you from not being able to succeed in whatever area of your life, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, or in your relationships. Those are the three things: your perspective. So if you want things to be different, you have to change your perspective. Once you change your perspective, you have to start making a decision on who is the person that you want to be, and you have to start acting as that person right now and thinking like that person right now. And then number three, you have to be consistent. Yes, at first it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel very awkward. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you the truth. Then the next thing is going to feel mechanical. After you start doing things, it's going to feel like, oh man, I'm kind of being a little mechanical, a little robotic. But eventually you will get to phase number three, where you will actually be natural at it. So I hope that you got a lot of value from this video. If so, you know what to do, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out for now.